Sahil. Welcome, Pratik. Again, Mr. Sinha, Pratik is a very avid researcher on sustainability. He's working with me with big data and sustainability.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
And we are joined by Simon. Simon, welcome.
Morning, as always, morning.
I teach my students always learn to say greetings. So greetings from our side. I know it's morning for you. It's like almost becoming end of day for us and end of week.
Network में problem हो रहा है.
And Simon, I bring to you, as they say, a bouquet of diamonds this time. So I have Mr. Pratik Mangal, an avid researcher of sustainability. Mr. Saurav Sinha from the industry, again a big expert on sustainability, and Dr. Pradeep Agarwal. Again, we'll have a formal introduction once we start, but just to get the ball rolling. Mr. Pradeep has worked on, again, very extensively on sustainability works in the sector of power sector, hydro. So that's a very big icon of sustainability. And he also devised a methodology. We have a practice in India where they burn the crops for the new set of crops. So that causes extensive damage to the environment. It happens in Indonesia, it happens everywhere. But he's devised some kind of methodology and given suggestions as to how it can become lucrative for the farmers not to burn the crops but use it as fuel. So all that and more, and once we start as a formal session exactly at 4. And of course, we have Dr. Kritika Gupta with us. She's the head of the Corporate Resource Center, gets thousands and thousands of people jobs, and gives them your dreams come true. So I'm sure she's like the most powerful, she'll probably feature in the most powerful women of Amity, at least, if not the world. So that's my panel. That's my diamonds for today. And I'll not
Sounds great.
speak. Yeah. Yes. And so I'm not going to speak. I'm going to now open the floor. Everybody is free to talk. And exactly at 4, we'll start formally. My MCs of the day are awaiting. They'll introduce everybody formally and start.
Thanks, ma'am, for the very nice appreciating words, and I welcome Mr. Simon Smith and everybody. Hope this session will be nice starting it.
Absolutely. I'm sure we are all going to go with, with so much of take back this, I'm absolutely positive. When Simon, when this program was like just in the beginning, we just said sustainability. Nothing was, I mean, that was before COVID. I contacted these gentlemen and said that no matter what happens, you have to welcome Dr. Kritika and welcome Saurav. Now I can see you full screen on my screen. And thank you, Mr. Sinha, for taking out time from, I'm sure you're very busy schedules. I know that, but taking out time for the students is like,
No,
it's like
actually, I do that quite a bit. Last year, I was in Birla Institute of Technology as well.
great.
So actually, because of the COVID, these things have actually reduced. So it was good. So thank you for the opportunity. Love to speak in front of
Yes,
everyone.
please. Yes, please. I'm sure there are so many. We've already crossed 50 students. They already, and quickly they'll keep joining. British are known for their timekeeping, so they'll probably join about 30 seconds earlier, which is something which I take very, very fondly to, the respect for time. So when I would go to UK meetings, I would make sure that I appreciated their very it's like a respect both for the person who's coming for the meeting and for yourself, that you're not wasting either of the parties' times. So very something we must learn from them. So can we have the welcome screen on, and then we'll start. The MC team, 1 minute and you're about to go. Can we have the welcome screen? Akriti, your welcome screen is not there. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Over to the formal session. Akriti, over to you, please.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, Ria is going to start. Ria?
Yeah, starting. The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. When we see land as a community to which we belong, we begin to use it with love and respect. Greetings of the day and namaste. I, Ria Sabarwal, along with my fellow host Akriti Negi, welcome you all to the panel discussion on sustainability. A clear shift in the business world indicates that many companies are choosing to be more conscious about the environment. In order to make a difference, we don't just need to stop what we are doing, instead,
We need to do better, and that starts with understanding the definition of sustainability in order to guide positive changes. Sustainability is no longer about doing less harm, it's about doing more good. The natural environment sustains the life of all beings universally. Before we commence with the panel discussion, let us invoke the blessings of the Almighty by lighting of the lamp and the Saraswati Vandana sung beautifully by a student of the Cultural Committee of Amity Business School.
I am not hearing the voice.
कुन्देन्दु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रामृता या वीणाभरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युत शङ्कर प्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा।
The sparkle of the lamp goes up, and blessings from the heaven are showered on us. Thank you to the cultural team for spreading the light of blessings. It was indeed a beautiful gesture. On this note, Amity Business School would like to cherish your presence to the event. Now, we would like to introduce our esteemed guest for the day to share industry insights about sustainability with us.
Dr. Pradeep Agarwal. Dr. Pradeep Agarwal is a mechanical engineer and holds an MBA degree in addition to doctorate in management. Sir has around 27 years of rich industrial experience in various infrastructure projects across Pan-India. He is working as a sector head of power and irrigation and was also involved in sustainability and risk portfolio of IL and FS Energy Group. He is governing council member of Central Bureau of Irrigation and Power and is an eminent speaker in various CII, FICCI and ICC organized seminars.
Saurav Sinha is the co-founder and managing director of Brainium Information Technologies Private Limited. Sir has 19 years of experience in sales and marketing. Getting new clients and keeping them happy is his one and only goal. At Brainium Information Technologies, he takes care of business development and HR activities. Sir is an electronics engineer from Bangalore University. He is a passionate writer and has recently released his first book, The 12th Man.
Prateek Mangal. Prateek Mangal is a director of SSR Management Consultant Private Limited. He is also currently pursuing PhD degree with research focus on big data and climate change from Amity Business School. Sir is an author and editor of 3 books. He has been awarded with many prestigious awards such as Young Achiever Award at Asia Pacific Excellence Awards by Belgave Education. He has more than 10 years of experience in FMCG and manufacturing industry. He is also a prominent social worker and runs an NGO, Nilab Foundation, to facilitate the studies of unprivileged children in Uttar Pradesh, India.
Now, I would like to introduce the session moderator for the day. Dr. Kritika Das Gupta is the head of Corporate Resource Center at Amity Business School. During her career span of 18 years, her association with Amity is since 14 years. She has been mentoring and guiding students for their career options and future growth since inception. She has also conducted Directorate General Resettlement classes for ex-servicemen on corporate linkages, social networking, and industry updates. Now, I would like to pass the baton to Dr. Kritika Das Gupta, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Akriti and Ria. Can I just request you to put Saurav on the panel, please? He's not in the panel.
Sure, ma'am, I'll do that.
Okay, thank you so much for the introduction. So to start with, I would just like to thank all the panel members who are here today. Thank you so much, all of you. The Sustainable Development Goals, as we are talking about, global goals are May I request you to please mute your mics? Okay, so Sustainable Development Goals or global goals are a collection of 17 interlinked global goals designed to be a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. The SDG were set in 2015 by the UN General Assembly and are intended to be achieved by the year 2030. The principle of common but differentiated responsibilities is the bedrock of our enterprise for a sustainable world. Was given this statement was given by Shri Narendra Modi ji. Sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Sustainable development it is focusing on pressing issues regardless of the location or the problem that can all be put under one umbrella for the sustainable development. It allows the global north to look at concerns like climate change whilst allowing developing countries to focus their efforts on efforts of economic development. The sustainable development is a way for people to use the resources without the resources running out. It means we are doing development without damaging or affecting the environment, which needs to be underlined. So with this, I would just like to quote one slogan by Peter Drucker: the best way to predict future is to create it. So with this remark, I would just like to open for the panel discussion, and I request Mr. Prateek and Mr. Saurabh and Mr. Agarwal, if we can just, all of us can open your cameras and come on the panel, please.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kritika.
Thank you, Dr. Pratika.
My privilege.
I am pursuing PhD, and it's really a great honor that getting this degree. So I request all of you to please don't call me doctor. I'm still Miss, but yes, I'm pursuing a PhD and hope to complete soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so if
yes, we can start. I would just request if you can please take over and start your discussion, please. I have a presentation to share.
Ma'am, you're not audible. Pradeep sir, I believe this is your presentation. Would you like to start?
Yeah, it's okay with me.
Am I audible?
This,
Am I audible?
yeah, a cracking voice is coming.
So just a second. Okay. I'll just remove. I think, am I audible now?
Yeah, it's okay now.
Okay. Yes,
So to-
Mr. Pratik, I think you can share your presentation, please.
Yeah,
Pradeep sir? Yeah.
This presentation is with the. Yeah, Pratik, you have this presentation, you will run it for me.
This is your I can see your presentation. You can start, or otherwise I'll ask.
No, somebody is having this and he has to roll it, or I can share it through my screen. Then I need a, permission to upload
Sir,
on.
Raj is doing it for you. If you
Okay.
want to put it on
No,
your
it's okay. Then I will say next kind of things.
Okay,
So
sir.
in with the, the sustainability, the word sustainability, for the understanding of the student, it is basically a word which is a pillar of from three aspects. That is, one is the economics, second is the environment, and third is the social. Every company or every organization is meant to gain some commercial when it is formed. The private organizations or the corporate houses I am talking about, these organizations are meant for the commercial gains, or the business is meant for the earning the profits. So while doing so, many a times, the responsibility towards the environmental aspects as well as the human aspects or the social aspect is large. So considering that these sustainable are still voluntary in nature, these are not so far mandatory, and the organizations, the various organizations across the world, the NGOs, they gathered and they formed that under this some framework. It was a global reporting initiatives, that is GRIs. They started making the sustainability reporting voluntarily through the organizations. So these were some kind of, there was a checks by the various organizations, and these are reporting initiatives wherein they were getting the benefits in terms of, say, lending rates reduced by 0.25%. That kind of benefits are there, and there is a more transparency when they uploaded this on their websites. So the concepts of the SDGs arrived in 2015, and before this, that was the MDGs. So come to the first slide. Next. These are the phrases before and after the pandemic given by Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres. And in 2018, they narrow the gaps, bridge the divides, rebuild trust by bringing people together around common goals. Unity is our path. Our future depends on it. And in 2020, after the kind of pandemic, then it goes, everything we do during and after this crisis must be with a strong focus on building more equal, inclusive, and sustainable economies and societies that are more resilient in the face of pandemic, climate change, and the many other global challenges we face. We have to combine together as a world in case we want to face the new crisis or the new unforeseen crisis which may arise. Next slide. Next, please. Yeah, next slide. Who is handling this? Yes. See, till Millennium Development Goals, this is just as a background I am giving, from 2000 to 2015, that is a 15 years period, there were around 8 MDGs, that is Millennium Development Goals. And these were replaced in 2016 with the 17 SDGs, that is Sustainability Development Goals. The 8 MDGs are one by one, it is mentioned that eradicate extreme poverty, achieve universal primary education, promote gender equality and empower women, reduce the child mortality, improve maternal health, about the diseases, about the environment, and a partnership. More or less, these 17 SDGs are also covering these MDGs, but in the SDGs, there were around 169 targets under the main 17 SDGs. So the achievement of these MDGs, as a MDGs, I have mentioned on the right side that around 6.2 million malaria deaths have been averted, and mostly among the young children, with the more and more responsibility given under MDGs to the various countries. The poverty levels have been declined. Primary school enrollment have been increased, and particularly in girls. The new HIV infections have been reduced, and the neonatal mortality as well as the ratio of the deaths per thousand have been reduced from 90 to 43, about 50%. Next. So as an example, just I'm saying that this goes with the target. There are 17 SDGs, but just to give you the example, say goal number 1 is no poverty. So it is a target, it is an aim of the, or it is a wishful thinking that by 2030, the eradication of extreme poverty, that is, extreme poverty is like a starvation, that should end. Zero hunger, again a 2030 target, that swift actions are required to remove to remove this hunger as a as a goal. Then good health, again the neonatal mortality, the target from 43 is now 12 deaths per thousand, so another say reduction. Then quality education and the gender equality. So these are there are some targets set by the bigger organization, world leaders for the various countries. Next. Say as an example, I'm now after the pandemic, you can see that SDG 11 is for the cities and communities. If you see that over 90% COVID cases were there in the urban areas. Now it is a need to have more safer public transportation, basic reliable services, as well as the to ensure the health and livelihoods of the urban dwellers. The proportion of the urban population living in slums, that has also rose in the past. And similarly, now the pandemic has clearly indicated that urban planning is crucial for the better public health. The goal is same, but with the new crisis of the pandemic, the shift is now, there is a change in thinking levels. Now the urban planning is more focused towards the new crisis. So under the same goals, the targets are a bit different as far as the policy frameworks are concerned. Next. Importance of data for the SDGs, until and unless there is a quality data for seeing that how far we are and how much we have achieved, we have to collect the data, not only collect, process, analyze, as well as disseminate of an unprecedented amount of data and statistics. So it is a complete entirely, at a level of subnational levels, national level, regional level, corporate level, global levels. So it's a huge challenge. So importance of the data for the SDGs to understand at where we stand is very, very important. There is one goal, SDGs 17. Why I have mentioned is because it is for the partnership for the sustainable development across the countries, across the companies, across the leaders, which is must. So it goes in the sense, particularly after pandemic COVID-19, the participation of the governments, the private sector, civil organizations, ordinary citizens across the world is required for the global partnership for the this very important aspect. So there are, of course, financial resources, trade tensions are there across the world. So we have to come from this also. Next. So this is something as a background I wanted to mention about the SDGs. Thank you very much. As a brief I have mentioned, now we can go for the various questions, where we stand, how to improve. And,
I think, Mr. Agarwal, we can take the questions in the end. We'll have the next speaker.
But thank you for that lovely presentation.
Yeah, it was really great.
Always a pleasure to hear you, Ms. Dr. Agarwal.
Thanks.
Over to you, Dr. Ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. May I have Mr. Prateek now for the presentation, please?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, yeah, we are audible.
Akarshi has my PPT. If she can share, please.
Okay, sir. Is it visible?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Prateek has almost a record of attending Harvard conferences, as well as he's an author. Very, I call him the Mr. Perfectionist. Wonderful work he does. There are several books. I think I've now almost lost count how many books he's an author of. A very known face in a lot of places where he can make a difference. Prateek, I'm sure you can even tell about your social initiatives, because sustainability for some of us is just a word which we just say just to sound cool. But you and our family are actually involved in sustainable development and women empowerment and the like. So I'll not keep you. Please do talk about your own personal. I know it you are too humble to talk about it, but I would request you to talk about the various initiatives which you and your family have taken.
Sure.
Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for this for the kind words. To the first slide, please. Yeah. So Pradeep sir has already introduced the SDGs, the 17 SDGs, but I'll give a brief introduction. So the current geological age has been termed as Anthropocene, meaning the age of human beings, by many scientists, since human activities have had a profound impact on the environment and climate. This has resulted in myriad of pressing environmental, political, economic challenges across the planet, and which needs to be resolved immediately. So in the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development at Rio de Janeiro in 2012, the world leaders came together and arrived at the idea of a plan of action to deal with the problems. It was in 2015 that the Agenda 30 and SDGs were finally devised after a lot of consultations and negotiations. These negotiations went on for 2 years almost. So in September 2015, 193 member countries accepted the goals which are to be achieved by 2030. The goals come with 169 specific targets, and at that time there were 232 measurable indicators, which now stand at 306 measurable indicators for the SDGs. And the Millennium Development Goals, MDGs, which also Pradeep sir introduced, came to an end in 2015, following which the SDGs were adopted. So what is the need for sustainable development goals? Why are they important? So the sustainable development goals are universal in nature and not made exclusively for developing countries. Moreover, they address majority of the issues that people are faced with in the present and includes all, leaving no section behind. In fact, the rally for this, the cry for this SDG is leave no one behind. It acts as a blueprint for ensuring a sustainable future for all by promising sustainable development. The goals are interlinked and integrated in nature. This means that actions taken in any one sector will have impact on the other sectors as well. Goal-based planning with measurable indicators will help in evaluating the progress made over time by a country or a state which is implementing measures to attain the goals, and also see whether it is on par with other nations. It also helps in identifying and determining the areas to improve. Next slide, please. So here we are seeing the updated dashboard for India, the current assessment of SDGs and the SDG trends, where they are leading till 2030. So according to the United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Networks, in 2019, India was ranked 115th of 162 countries in terms of SDG index, with a score of 61.1. But in the updated list in 2020, India is ranked 117 out of 166 countries with a score of 61.9. Denmark ranks first with a score of 85.2, and Central African Republic ranks the lowest with a score of 39.1. In the Southeast Asia region, India is at the 16th position out of the total 18 countries in this region. Only neighboring countries of Pakistan and Bangladesh stand behind India. Okay, the next slide, please. Right, here we are seeing the dashboard for United Kingdom. So the United Kingdom launched a voluntary national report in 2018, in which they assessed privately assessed that 24% of the goals are performing well. 57% there are gaps in policy coverage or performance is not adequate, which have to be addressed, and in 15% little or no policy is in place to address the targets. So if you can see in this in the current assessment SDG dashboard, there are 5 SDGs that pose major challenges in the United Kingdom. There are another 5 which have significant challenges, and the trends for 2030, it is really nice to know that the United Kingdom is on track to achieve 4 of the SDGs. That is number 7, affordable and clean energy, number 8, decent work and economic growth, and number 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure, and number 17, partnerships for the goals. Right. Akashi, I'm sorry, can you please go back to the previous slide for India? Yes, please. Thank you. So similarly for India, we will all be very happy to know that India has already achieved 1 SDG, that is number 13 for climate action. And India is also on track to achieve 4 of the SDGs, which will be till 2030, which will be number 1, no poverty, number 6, clean water and sanitation, number 8, decent work and economic growth, and we have already achieved number 13, that is climate action. So in the last few years, our government has taken a lot of measures and steps to work on the SDGs. India has achieved the complete electrification of all the villages, all the rural villages in 2017, and 2018 or 2019, India was declared open defecation free. That comes under clean water and sanitation, the number 6, and due to the impact of the recent COVID pandemic, I believe there are a few development goals which are currently stagnating for India: quality education, gender equality, sustainable cities and communities, life below water, peace, justice, and strong institution, and number 17, partnerships for the goals. So India still has a long way to go to attain goals of gender equality and poverty eradication. It has been scored for the least for the SDG 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure, which is crucial for economic development. Before antecedent to this is gender equality as SDG 5 and zero hunger SDG 2, which deals with nourishment. Trends in SDG 1, 8 and 13 suggest India is on track to attaining the 2030 target for these 3 goals. Right. So, and if we talk about the states in India, 13 states are performing below the national average. At a glance, like the performance of states, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Himachal Pradesh are the best performing states as per NITI Aayog's 2018 report. NITI Aayog is the organization that is handling all the reporting of SDGs. So, and Assam, Bihar, and Uttar Pradesh were identified as the least performing states. Among the union territories, Chandigarh, Puducherry were the best performers, and the performance of 13 states was, like I mentioned earlier, that was below the national average. So in 2018, Kerala and Himachal topped the list. In India, the NITI Aayog has developed 4 categories for the states and their performances. So there is achiever, frontrunner, performers, and aspirants. So the achievers, none of the states have scored 100%. Achiever is the state which attains the 100 numbers on the index. Front runners are 65 and above, and the states are Chandigarh, Himachal, Kerala, Puducherry, and Tamil Nadu. The others are performers, and I have already mentioned the aspirants which score below 50% are Assam, Bihar, and Uttar Pradesh. The next slide, please. Akashi, next slide, please. I've already covered the United Kingdom. Thank you. Yes. So how India is delivering on the SDGs? So India in the 2019 plan has started working on localization of the Sustainable Development Goals. Like the work has to be done on the grassroots level. So and it is following the same pattern like the 3-tier structure that we have in India. The starts with district and local administration, goes to the above is state administration, and at the center. Niti Aayog is the center of all this, and it is in close consultation with Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. The Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation is the data focal point for Sustainable Development Goals, and they work in consultation at the central level with the line ministries, SDG sectoral policy design for policy design, scheme formulation, and monitoring. At the state level, Niti Aayog coordinates with the high-level committee chaired by Chief Secretary of the states, and they work on the SDG guidance, policy design, review, and monitoring. And they also organize the training and resource institutions and provide experts for the policy making at the state level and their implementation as well. And a planning department and nodal department for SDG coordination and monitoring tracks on the district level all report to the planning department and nodal department for SDG coordination. So district administration looks after the implementation and monitoring at the district level, which is run by the district magistrate and the chief development officers. They like track the district planning committee, and they are looking into the planning and collecting data from the urban local bodies, the rural local bodies, and frontline functionaries and implementations. The local level NGOs and other like companies and industries also help with the data collection and like fund generation for SDG implementation as well. I think that will be all for my presentation. Thank you. The last.
Brilliant presentation, Prateek. Very exhaustive. Did a fantastic comparison. I loved your visualizations. I'm a visualization teacher, so I have this soft corner for visualizations. And thank you so much. Ma'am Kritika, over to you.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Prateek. We really have a great idea, you know, where we are as India and where we are as UN. So, you know, I think the students would have an idea, and I think, yes, we are, because of the pandemic. You say, you know, there were a lot of challenges, but I should say that, you know, pandemic has also led us to a lot of SDG goals have really, you know, come up, like you are saying, you know, like for education or for, you know, gender equality. We have heard a lot of people saying about this inclusiveness. You know, the corporates have started using it, and along with various organizations, because I'm in touch with a lot of corporates. So they have, you know, they have even in webinars that we've attended, you know, we have transgender, they've included, you know, in a lot of sessions. So this is what, you know, is the acceptance. So it all starts with us. Thank you so much, and over to you, Saurabh sir. I request you to kindly share your thoughts on the same.
Yeah, thank you, Kritika, and thank you, Dr. Agarwal and Prateek, for lovely presentations. It was wonderful meeting you as well, and I hope the students would have learnt a lot as well. So I do not have a presentation. I'm more of an IT guy, and I'm pretty impromptu kind of a person. So as Prateek was saying, that we are ranking 117, and I guess the Indian government is quite committed to reach the goals by 2030, at least some of them. And COVID-19 has been one of the reasons where we have been able to not been had a pretty tough year, I guess everyone. But one of the right direction that I saw was the National Education Plan. And I think that is a step in the right direction. Finally, if everybody is educated, proper education is given, then automatically things will improve in our country. So that is a good step in the right direction. And I think which comes along with that, which came up pretty much during the pandemic, was the internet penetration, thanks to Reliance Jio mostly. And as Mukesh Ambani says, the data is the new oil, and we have been able to penetrate internet right to the remote locations. And I think students were able to, even under this pandemic, I could see like even the government school students were able to get taught without, well, it was not same as classroom teachings, but they did not lose a year. They were able to learn a lot. And because of this, there were a couple of startups like Byju's and White Hat Junior who were like grew like crazy, uh, and uh, and that brings me to the gender equality part also, because if you look at White Hat Junior concept of actually having the housewives as teachers, so we have found like around 9,000 teachers. Like my wife herself is a teacher now, online teacher. So I have seen the benefit of so many people getting employed, and many ladies who had left their jobs after having a child or something, they have got the opportunity to come back. So that in a way helps in our economy. And when you help the economy, automatically everything improves. Another thing was the Skill India. I got this directly when during the pandemic I was using the Urban Clap for some AC servicing, and I saw a couple of guys coming in, and I saw the Skill India written on their back. So I asked like what it is. So he said that we learned this AC servicing under the Skill India program. So you can see that right under that, then they have got a job. They were from a very tough background, both those kids, and they are having a good job for themselves now, and they're leading a good life. So that is a direct example of what is the advantage of Skill India is. And I am very sure there will be many more advantages, or there will be many more examples of this kind. So I've been a startup entrepreneur for a long time, so pretty much attracted towards that, to all the startups. And I need to give a personal example about gender equality. We have this kind of a concept that though I'm in an IT industry which has 30-40% of ladies in the IT industry, but there is this kind of a thing that probably they won't be able to take that pressure when it comes to ladies. But that's a very wrong thing. When like I am in the sales team, and there was a time when we started about 7 years back, we did not have a single lady in our sales team. Why? Because like the sales, it would take 12 to 14 hours of work ladies will not be able to do. So I changed that. So I got one lady. I found one lady who was very good in sales, about 2 years experience. I got her into the job and she's excelled. And now what has happened, a 10-member team, we have 4 members who are ladies, and they're doing extremely well. Now, when we were looking for another candidate during the pandemic, for 2 months there was no hiring. So I just went to the manager. I said, "What happened?" He said, "We are not getting proper guys." I said, "You send me the resumes." So I went through the resumes. I found one lady. She had 2 years experience, and there was a gap of 2 years because after giving birth to a child, she had left a job. So I said, I want to talk to this lady. So we arranged the interview virtually over Google Meet. And I saw that she left the job because there was a problem at home. She could not continue after the birth. So I gave her the opportunity. And it's been 6 months now, and she is doing wonderfully well. I went back to the manager after 6 months. I said, "Did you see the difference? You have to give the opportunity, because now this lady wants to prove herself that I am good, and she is doing well." So this is something I think in a mindset of India that has to come in, that everybody is good, be of whichever gender, give them the opportunity and they will come good. And that is the same with the lower strata of the society as well, as I said about Skill India concepts. So my call to all the students who are here, being an entrepreneur, I love actually interacting with people on LinkedIn who comes to me with questions about entrepreneurship. So if you are having any kind of idea which you think will solve a problem in the society, just put it on pen or paper and go for it. And once you go for it, you will have a lot of questions, and you try and solve it. The money will come when you have a sustainable idea, because people will see. And one of the things that people always thinks that like the biggest company in the world, like Apple, it just didn't come. Steve Jobs didn't start Apple uh, making Macintosh. He actually started with something else, and then the Macintosh happened. Look at Sony; they had the idea of rice cooker. That did not work also, and they finally became such a big organization. So if you have an idea which you think is going to solve the society, transfer that idea into a pen and paper and get working on it, and try to fail quickly. When you try to fail quickly, you will learn quickly. What happens with people is that they follow a taken path. They do not know that there are so many failures and struggles that go on for people. And I think young people, if they are thinking of making a change, entrepreneurship is the best thing to go forward, because you can bring a change to the society through entrepreneurship. Thank you, Kritika, for the opportunity. It was lovely talking to you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. And it was really pleasure listening to all the three, I should say, we had a lot of different verticals that we heard today. I request any student, if you have any question, you can write in the chat or can raise the hand and we can unmute you. Any questions, students?
I'm sure there are lots of questions, and they can unmute themselves because of team background.
Okay.
So one by one, please raise your hands and ask your questions.
Any questions or any thoughts that come to you after listening to the speakers?
So we have got a question from Cam. Please go ahead.
Good evening. I've got a question, an open question for maybe all three regarding SDGs. In particular, SDG 16. Can organizations be active, accountable, and inclusive to their external stakeholders if they're not aligned with their internal stakeholders? So can they outwardly be fulfilling this SDG if they're not aligned with their internal stakeholders? I'll open it to anyone if that's okay.
Any of the panelists can answer, please. Is the question clear, or shall I ask Cam to repeat it?
Yeah,
you are on mute, Pratik. You are on mute.
Sorry, ma'am, please repeat the question. The voice was cracking, so
yeah, sure.
Yes.
My question is regarding the SDGs. To fulfill external stakeholders' I think outline for the SDGs and goals, can that be fulfilled if they're not aligned with the internal stakeholders? Do you feel that it has to align externally and internally, or is it just an external exercise?
Say, Pratik, should I answer this?
Yes, sir, please go ahead.
Yeah. See, if of course, internal linking is required for any, for any achievement as a goal, because there are, the multiple stakeholders are there. Without involving the internal stakeholders, the SDGs can't be achieved. For example, there is an exercise within the organizations to understand the internal requirement, internal assessments as a stakeholders. For example, suppose there is a corporate house, or there is any organization, big organization, and we have one particular SDGs, I need to take my internal employees, my business numbers, my ethical values, my the other purchase requisitions, the processes. All these are process of the internal stakeholders, where my as a department, as a person, as a employees, as a processes, as a targets, as a aims, I am having my internal system into the as a stakeholder into the process for achieving any external kind of requirements. So similarly at a government level also, if I will as a country, if I have to achieve the goal of poverty, it has to be from the every ground level, from the every internal system, every kind of stakeholders. It has to be combined together so that it has a numbers
Impact.
which are there for the entire country. So internal stakeholders, this has a large effect. I hope that is what you wanted to ask.
Thank
Right.
you.
I would like to add a little bit to it. So it is like the basic requisite, like to achieve these goals, like each like participant country is supposed to raise its own like resources through domestic sources, funding from the private sector, and crack down on illicit financing flows and corruption. And like at the start of this discussion, Kritika ma'am like quoted Peter Drucker, like the change that we want to see should come from we should be the start of the change that we want to see. So it starts from the internal sources only, and then moves on to the external. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Cam. May I request Shagun to please ask your question?
Good evening, panel. So my question is, how is India tracking SDG progress?
So may I request Saurav sir to answer this, please?
Yeah, I think there is this. The government has through Niti Aayog, they are taking the data from the state and then they are displaying it. So it's a pretty transparent, right? From the state, whatever data is coming, it goes to a center across all the 17 SDGs, and then it is displayed as a report. India is one of those countries which has signed up to be quite transparent. Like I think there are 40 countries who have told that we will be transparent in all the goals and whatever we have achieved. And that is where you see that right now we are ranked 117. So it is coming right from the bottom level and it is going up. And then it is Niti Aayog is collecting that data and they are displaying it. So there is a site also. There is a portal from where you can actually check all the data. There is a full-fledged report also across all the SDGs, how far we have reached, and what is the next short-term goals as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Prateek, you would like to add, please?
Yes. So sir is very right. Like under the guidance of Niti Aayog, there is a national indicator framework (NIF) developed by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So then they have developed the national indicator framework, which comprises of the 17 goals, the 169 targets, and 306 the indicators, of which the government of India is actively tracking 62 significant indicators. And this is what is helping the tracking the India's SDG performance. And these all indicators are accepted nationwide. Each of the states has to account on them and then report accordingly.
Great, thank you, Prateek. I hope Shagun, you've got your answer.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, Ria, I think you would like to ask your question.
Sir, I would like to ask, how do we measure the growth? Like, who is responsible for implementing and how do they measure it?
I think it's the same question that you are asking. Yeah. So who is monitoring it? I thought sir is
Niti Aayog is only.
Yeah.
Niti Aayog is the monitoring as far as the India is concerned. But I would like to add, the measurement not only at government level but at corporate level in India is progressing, but it need to go much beyond that, like a developed countries, wherein the still it is a it's a voluntarily requirement. The corporate houses uh, across the world, the biggest 250 companies, G250, are in the developed countries, more or less, and they are coming out. They year on year they are coming out with their sustainability reports, wherein of course they are mentioning their targets with respect to the climate change, or maybe with respect to the economics or the infrastructure, the ones which are related with them. Maybe a Coca-Cola is more related with the, say, water and waste. Similarly, the Unilever is more, or Nestle is more related with the food. So such houses are coming out with the numbers, and the companies need to set a target, their own targets voluntarily, that my next year target, for example, for the gender, presently suppose out of 100 total, 30 girls are there in the company, and I want to have a gender equality. So next year my target would be to increase it to, say, 35. Similarly, another target, similarly waste target, similarly e-waste target. So companies, corporate houses need to come out with more and more, targets, so that it can improve. Presently it is under Niti Aayog at state levels, not under the corporate houses in India much, I will say. However, it is there in the big companies, but it need to come down. Thank you.
Right.
I
And
guess
would
they
like
can
to-
do it with the CSR activity of the corporates. I'm not very sure how much the CSR activity that the private companies are having.
No, that
They can add it
CSR
with
is
the
something
SDGs.
related with the social responsibility. It can be, yes. Corporate responsibility and sustainability responsibility leaders, this goes together. But CSR funding was more or less related with the out of some profits, some margins are kept for the social works. But as far as SDG is concerned, these are indicators, these are measurable indicators which we need to track. How much is the measurable numbers?
Okay. Any other question? I think Arnav is raised his hand. Arnav Agarwal.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Greetings of the day to one and all. Ma'am, I wanted to ask that what are the challenges anyone can face in implementation of sustainable development goals in India?
So we think no challenge 7 goals. We have challenges if even for one goal. So you want to ask with one particular goal, or are you asking as general? Arnav?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm asking, are you pinpointing one goal, or you are asking a generalized question?
See, as far as he
Ma'am,
understand that
generalized
he,
question, ma'am.
yeah, in a brief, he is asking about the various challenges being faced by India in achieving our targets. The major challenge within India, I feel, is of course, the fund requirement, either from the various schemes which are there. Like various schemes are there, midday scheme is there, the free girl education schemes are there, or maybe upliftment of the poor is there. Similarly, Manrega is there. Various schemes governments come out with the fundings. The implementation of the same need to be one with a corruption free environment. Number two, less bureaucracy and political will. Similarly, the inclusion of all. There are various challenges within the India, and we must accept that the things are progressing well, but not at that pace which you can say the desired pace. So in India, there are various challenges. The money, the funds, when it flows from the national to the state to the panchayats, and then the implementation of the schemes or the advertisement of the scheme, so that these can be implemented in a proper manner. The atmosphere need to be created. That transportation need to be there. Infrastructure need to be there. So the things are improving. Of course, these are improving, and we must see it in the future that with the improvement of the IT systems, more internet, going into the at the base level, ground level, the things should improve.
Thank you so much. I think we are over with the questions. Anupama ma'am, I think we are over with the time. Should we?
Absolutely. So I thank my panel And I thank Ms. Taz Gupta for taking out time to moderate this session. And thank you all. And I'm sure, and I've got several students messaging me that it has been a great session. I had some work and they said, no, ma'am, we are listening to the session. So that I think is the biggest indicator of, of success of any session. So I congratulate you for holding the attention of this generation, which doesn't last more than 7 seconds, as I'm told. So thank you so much.
Organizing it so well. Thank you so much. Thank you, Saurabh for joining us, and thank you, Mr. Prateek and Mr. Agarwal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.